Hello, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter, your Las Vegas Raiders beat writer on Sports Illustrated and the host of the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. It is so great to be with you tonight. I am super excited to have a young man on our podcast who you all know how much I respect him, how much I like him. He is Raiders running back Alexander Mattison, or as I like to call him, he is the Sherman Tank. This guy is so amazing to watch. We talked about in the offseason, he was the most underrated free agent that the Raiders signed. And yes, I know they made a huge signing with Christian Wilkins, but everyone knew what they were getting with Christian. This young man is an awesome addition to this team. Coach is AP has been bragging on him this week. He's going to get more reps. So we're looking forward to having him. He's going to join us in just a minute. Before I bring him on, I want to address something. When his people reached out and wanted to know if I wanted to have him on the podcast, I said absolutely we do. There was no holds barred. But obviously today there's a lot of news about Davante Adams, and I want you to know he didn't come on this show saying you can't ask me about anything, but I'm not going to ask him. That's not fair to him. The place to ask those questions are in the locker room, at the facility. Yes, we're going to talk Raiders and I want you to get to know him, but I'm doing that out of respect. And you've heard me say many times in this business, the media's job is to get it right, but it's also to be respectful. So I wanted everyone to address that. And let me tell you, our latest information is that a source close to the situation has told us at Las Vegas Raiders on Sports Illustrated that the Raiders are not shopping Davante, but they would consider a substantive offer. That's the latest of what we've been told by a source close to the situation. In fairness, ESPN first had the more details on this, and we want to give them credit. They earned it, but that's the latest that we know. But now, no more further ado. I don't want to talk about that. The man of the hour, I call him Sherm because he's like a Sherman tank, one of the good guys in all of the NFL. The great Alexander Mattison. Alexander, thank you for joining us on your day off, my friend.
Of course, it's a pleasure. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate you. All right, I got to just. So I've been friends with Kirk Cousins a long time, since back when he was in high school. So I knew all about you. And when you signed, we even wrote an article that you may have been the most underrated signing in all of the NFL this year. When you look at Kirk goes down, Justin goes down, Dalvin goes down, and you're running last year against a 10-man box, a 9-man box all year long. So it allowed your statistics to be skewed. But what's it like sitting there hearing AP brag on you saying he's earned more? You got to be happy about your decision to come to the desert.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a big part of wanting to come here is wanting to be a part of something special, wanting to be a part of an amazing locker room for one, amazing organization. So just to be a part of it now and to just see all of that come into fruition, just being in that locker room, understanding through the ups and downs that we're going to stay true to what we do, stay true to one another, and do this as a family. I'm just excited to continue going forward. We just got to continue to build off this momentum, build off of every week, every day that we put in the work. And so, yeah, coming off this win is going to be big, huge momentum swing for us to continue to carry forward.
Alexander, I took a lot of criticism because I predicted this team to get to 10 wins. And I said last week after the loss to Carolina that this was going to be a refining moment, not a defining moment for this team. And I loved when AP came out after the Carolina game upset. It showed fans he's not a coach who's just cashing a paycheck. He cares as much as any fan in that building. He grew up a fan. And I asked him on last Friday, I said, AP, what have you learned about your team this week? And he said, character, how you guys responded. And so I went out right afterwards and said, they're going to win this. And I got to tell you, down 6 starters and then 7 by the time the game started. I had a lot of people making fun of me. Thank you for making me look good. But I think you learned a lot about your team, didn't you? We lost him. We'll get him back here in just a second.
Hello?
There he is.
There.
Thank you for being back with us. Sorry about that. But I think you learned a lot about your team, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. It was one of those things where, you can't let this moment define you. You can't let, an outcome of a game define you. But going through that, the grind, the effort that we put in, the intention, and then going out on Sunday and letting it all spill on the field, and even through the ups and downs of that game, just staying together and giving it our all to the very last play. It's one of those things that I've been a part of some roller coaster teams, some special teams, and that was a moment where I felt it, where I felt this is what we could be. This is the team that we need to be every week, when it comes down to an execution standpoint, when it comes down to staying together through all four quarters. That feeling is what I felt on that sideline. I know everyone else felt it too. So if we can just continue to recreate that feeling week in and week out, we can go through and we'll be able to beat anyone that stands in front of us.
Alexander, I wasn't surprised because I knew of you before you came to Las Vegas, but one of the things that has stood out to me in the locker room is watching you, and you're not even old, so I'm not implying that, but you're an elder statesman, you're a vet, and watching you go over to guys who, some of them not even on offense. You're an encourager. I've watched you be almost psychologist, preacher, friend, butt kicker. You are all of the gamut. You are such a gifted leader. That takes me to why I wanted to interview you. I want Raider Nation to get to know the guy under the helmet. To me, that character defines who you are as a man. You're a great running back, but your character defines you as a man. You're going to live a lot longer than you play in the NFL. Did that come from family? Did it come from faith? Where did that come for you, Alexander?
I think it was a big combination of both. For me, just understanding, just trying to be led by the Spirit, be led by whatever it is God has planned for me, and that reveals itself as I continue to just live day to day and continue to just have different adversity come my way and overcome it, and all of the above. But yeah, definitely having very strong family values, and being able to see someone like my aunt, who to this day is an inspiration and motivation to me. Who She just became Dr. Angela Brantley. She had her PhD. So just looking at the trajectory of my life and my career, I owe it to myself. I owe it to everyone that is surrounded by me, anyone that comes into my life, to be the best version of myself, both on and off
Mm.
the field. So I just pride myself in trying to be a leader in that way, and trying to do the best that I can to help impact lives, not only the ones that are directly in contact with me, but anyone that I come across. I just want to make sure that I leave a lasting impact. And what better way to do that than in my locker room with my teammates? And long after football, we'll be able to talk about so and so in the locker room, and so on our off day we did this, and all of that. So those are the things that I want to cherish the most, and what I pride myself in.
So you have a foundation, the I Am Gifted Foundation, which is phenomenal. Each month, you select a different charity and you sponsor it, you bring attention to it. You don't just it's just not a money thing with you. It's not a publicity thing. It's hey, this is the charity I'm spotlighting this month. I'm just curious. Talk us back if you don't mind. Walk back with us. How did you start the I Am Gifted? How did you come up with the name? Talk about its purpose, its values. It's such a phenomenal foundation. I'd love people to hear about it.
Yeah, yeah. So it was born through the struggles of my own battle with overcoming adversity through the dark times of my life, where I didn't know what mental health was, but I battled against some things mentally, going through college, and I almost walked away from football. I almost was, just done with the game, and there was just nothing could go right. And so, at a time where I finally was able to let go, let God, and kind of just started to learn more and educate myself on what mental health was, because I really didn't know what it was, didn't know where the resources were, didn't know how important it was. And I realized, there was things that I was doing that were part of these positive mental health practices to combat the stressors in life. Things like riding a bike down the river, and taking a walk versus driving to class one day, like things like that I didn't know were actually helping me balance and get through some of these dark times. I didn't know. And then I started to do my research. I started to learn about positive mental health practices and learn more and more about it. And so that's how I became an advocate for it. And I was just having a conversation with my mom one day, and she was just, giving me the positive affirmations of, you're loved, you're gifted, you're smart, you're talented. And not too long after that, when it was time for me to, look at what I wanted to do for my own brand, bigger than just slapping Alexander Mattison or slapping my face on a t-shirt or something like that. But I wanted it to be more than that. I wanted it to be a movement, something that people can resonate with long after football. For me, I didn't want it to just be tied into my profession. So that's where I'm Gifted was born. I wanted to start something that was bigger than just merchandise, but a brand, a movement, something that people can get behind. And as you read it, you subliminally tell yourself, I am gifted, which is the first positive affirmation step of a positive mental health practice. So, yeah, that's really how it started, and we're here today. Going strong with all the camps that I do. I do a little bit of like I'm Gifted camp tour throughout the summer, where I do back in my hometown. I do a 3-day overnight camp in San Bernardino, California. We do a 3-day overnight camp in Minnesota, and then we do a 1-day camp in Boise, Idaho. And through that, we emphasize the importance of mental health, helping these young kids learn that, as they go through this journey and they chase their dreams, that adversity is going to hit. But when it does, here are resources. Here's how you combat the stressors in life that will come inevitably. And through that, we also have the Rush to Give initiative throughout the season, where we do each month, we have an initiative that we attacked. And through my foundation, we're able to try and impact lives. And, we start with the back to school, then the My Reason, My Why, which is about family and the importance of creating those core memories with family to fall back on in times of adversity.
Mhm.
And going forward through that, we have our Cancer Awareness Month, the Salute to Service Month, and then, of course, around Christmas time is the gift of giving, where we can just give, spread love. And that's what it's all about, spreading love and positivity in this world. And I'm encouraging everyone to find their gift within and unlock it and use it to shed light in the world.
I was asked one time, Alexander, and I'd love your input on this. Someone said, "What?" Because I always talk about having a relationship with the Lord, not a religionist experience. And someone said, "What's the difference?" And I said, "When you've walked through a a path and you fall in a hole and there's nobody around but Him, it becomes a relationship." And I think you live that way, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things for me, I've become really, it's come really personal for me. Growing up, it was always, church on Sundays. And, I grew up in a strong um, faith-led family. But for me, taking that one step further was, going through some of the darkest moments, some of the darkest times, and understanding that, God wouldn't give me any adversity that I can't handle or overcome, and understanding that it's all a part of his plan, all a part of the path that he has for me. And I if I go through anything that's really tough, I just charge it to the mentality of, God gives some of his toughest battles to his toughest soldiers. And I'm like, all right, this is the time of adversity. I'll take it as a compliment from God that, I'm strong enough to get through this. But yeah, I definitely try and keep a strong personal relationship. It's something that I think carries me through what I do, is living by that.
Mhm. I agree. It sustains me. I couldn't live without the Lord. I I want to make this clear to our listeners. Alexander didn't ask me to do this. I want to do this. Alexander, if people want to give to your foundation, can you tell them where they go to do that, please?
Yeah, we're actually doing a whole rebranding, getting started and going. So the IamGiftedFoundation.org will be up and running soon. But for
Okay.
now, we have criticclothing.com is where you can find a lot of the information for the foundation and the brand. And there's a link on there. And if you want to follow at imgifted.foundation on Instagram and imgifted dot two on Twitter or X now. But yeah, we're constantly doing things. We're constantly trying to spread love and positivity. So would love for anyone to join the movement and follow along.
Well, how excited are you now to get on a bird and go up to Denver?
I'm excited. I'm extremely excited. Yeah, it's
It's going to be fun. You're going to love that environment.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of those places where I got to play there last year, and grass is always good for us backs, and it has to run around and make a lot of different cuts. So I'm excited to be on some grass again, but definitely just excited for this rivalry game. For me being with a new team, a new atmosphere when it comes down to rivalries and stuff. So across the division, must-win game. I'm excited to go down there or up there rather, and experience what it's like to go down there in such a hostile environment and play some rated football.
Well, I'm looking forward to walking in that locker room, and I hope I see you smiling. Before you go, I want to read a text from one of your teammates about you. Okay. I reached out today and I said, I'm going to be interviewing Alexander on my podcast today. And I know this person really likes you. So I said, just give me an anonymous quote if you had to describe him. You ready now? This is dangerous when you're teammates.
All right.
Here's what he said. That man is legit. That man's real. He doesn't talk about being a Christian. He is one. Alexander, you and I are both men whose faith is the center of their life. But to hear the people you work with every day, who sweat with you, who bleed with you, who shower and hang out with you more than your own family during the season, to hear one of them say that, it is my prayer one day that somebody in my life would say that. What does that make you? How does that make you feel to have that kind of respect from your teammates?
I mean, that's big. I mean, for me, I go through life, and everything I do is to leave a lasting impact. And I always say, I don't care to have the feedback, because I do what I do not for the feedback. But whenever I do get it, it is heartwarming. It is something that lets me know that I'm on the right path. It lets me know that I'm doing something right, and it keeps me motivated, keeps me pushing forward. So that's amazing to hear, and that's exactly the impact that I hope I leave every time that I encounter someone and everything that I do.
All right, Alexander, stay on the line with me for 1 second, if you would. Again, that's Alexander Mattison, the terrific Sherman tank of a running back for the Raiders. I've told you guys all along, great signing by Tom Telesco. Such a good football player, an absolutely better guy. One of the good ones, and he's one of the reasons why you can take so much pride in your Raiders. We'll see you again next time.